needs to be given attention in this era. Our dispensation right now is focusing on something which should be dealt with because it's really causing a lot of harm to the people. It's called the spirit of dependency that we have created a culture which only reflects dependency, that people cannot take responsibility on their own. So the culture is keeping people always in a timid mood. That is, unless there is a push from somewhere, we are not going to get something done. When we don't get someone to direct, there's not going to be any motion. So most of the young people coming up are unable to raise their faculties and think to make things work. The culture of dependency, with its positive result that it gives to society, we should also understand that it is causing harm to the younger generation, because the people we are bringing up in this era are becoming people who cannot take responsibility. That unfortunately, at the age of 30 years, there are people who are still depending on their parents at the age of 30 years to make certain decisions. It's an error. It is an error. Parents, let's learn how to culture our children to be decisive, because you see, if they don't learn how to be decisive from home, if they don't learn how to be decisive from home, that is when they will find it difficult to make right choice of woman that they are going to be with. All these things are factors which are influencing the divorce rate that we are having right now in this generation. All these things are factors. All these things are factors that if you cannot raise people to be dependent, that you want them to forever depend on you, that means in your absence, all that you built cannot be sustained. Everything will collapse down, because you have created an environment where you are the only person that is being depended on for change, for move, for shift, for anything that will bring any meaningful living. You have created an environment where you are the only person that we depend on. When it becomes like that, in your absence, we are going to suffer. That is why we don't experience a lot of inventions like old. Technically, when you are follow the invention trades, you realize that most of the things that we use right now are inventions which existed previously. Nothing new is coming, because we have cultured. When you go to school, you have been taught that the only thing that you can produce is what you read from the notebook you have been given. So the students cannot think outside the box. So when they come out of the terrain of the academic curriculum and they have to face reality, they are unable to think sufficiently to bring consistent change in the environment. And as a result of that, there is a whole lot of things that we are going to lose as a nation, as a continent, as a world, if we don't get to fix things like this and create people to be dependent, allow them to make decisions. Don't, you see, we are afraid of allowing people to make wrong decisions, but you don't know that regardless the direction, there would be a wrong decision taken. That the fact that you have a company of people making a decision does not mean that the decision is appropriate and is right. Growing up, I used to hear this saying that two heads are better than one. But there is a correction over there that it is two good heads which are better than one. Because when you get two fools, you cannot tell me those two foolish people will be better than one wise man. You can't tell me that. So we should consider these things and make sure that we create freedom in people. Freedom. People have to be given freedom to make responsible decisions. And it starts from somewhere. When you don't give them room to practice the decisiveness when it comes to the realities of life, people will be at the age of 40 and still cannot make right decisions. People will be at the age of 70 and still they can't give a reasonable counsel to the young ones coming, that everything has to be consulted. No, I am not against teamwork. I am not against taking advice from people. But what I am saying is that there should be room for freedom for a man to take responsible decisions. Allow them to take the decisions and guide from behind. You as a parent, you are always in front of the decisions. Then that young man is growing up to become useless. Immediately you pass out. You understand? When you create too much comfort for people, they will end up becoming fools. Don't create too much comfort for your kids. Don't. I am not saying you should be irresponsible when it comes to your responsibility. One of your responsibility too is that you produce wise men who would grow up and become profitable to the environment. Because you can attest to the fact that when you pick 10 children right now, the future you are going to see in them will be too bright out of the 10. Two will be brighter and the rest will be dim. And the question is, why is it happening that way? Why? Is it how things are structured to be? No. Things are structured in a way that with or without, there should be an effective move, effective living, effective practices. So when you are always deciding on, you see, right from day one, the kind of course the child was supposed to do in the school, you decide to choose for the child. You decide to choose the friends that the child should take. You weren't able to guide them and let the child understand that, look, if you want to be part of the sciences, you want to be part of the doctrines, this is the way to go. Because there are people that technically what you are asking them to go and study, they have no interest in, and that they are going to waste their life in school when you take them to school to go and do those studies. And these people will grow and become part of a corporate world, and they cannot contribute sufficiently to the corporate world. They cannot, because the culture the culture, the cultural background that this person is coming from is a dependency ratio. That child he has been programmed not to do anything without being asked. And with that, you realize at the end of the day, you're not be living as human, because as a human you are supposed to be initiative. You are supposed to be initiative. So with this, we can clearly see why we cannot experience effective change in our life and in our environment and in our society. We cannot experience the effective change that we are supposed to experience. And the question is why? It's simple, that we have not grown to walk in freedom. Until you grow to walk in freedom, you cannot make a responsible change. Responsible change. Become responsible, and then we know that you mean business. Take bold decisions, and we know that you mean business. That is why you cannot choose right when it comes to choosing the right woman for your life, because you have not been given the chance to be making little decisions, and so therefore something big and huge like that, you are open up to error. So a lot of people will err in their choice of woman, in their choice of man, because of the dependency practice in our culture, which has been inculcated in the people found within the vicinity. So are you able to give room to your subordinates to make decisions under your supervision? Now, I am not saying that you should not supervise. You should not supervise. What I'm saying is, let the decision go on under your supervision. So when a decision is going wayward, it's where you see that's what you see. That is where you find your essence and know that, okay, no, this is getting out of hands, and so therefore, yeah, the reason why it's happening like that is because of this and this and that, and why you shouldn't take this route is because of this and that, and at the end of the day, if care is not taken, this is the result you are going to get. So you have been able to explain things to the decision maker, but without this, and you tell your son, do this, do that. Don't do that. You see, when you become straightforward with decisions like this, automatically, you are telling that child of yours, that subordinate of yours, that you don't have sense. That is what it means. That is what it means. You see, when you have studied the organizational structure, those of you who have studied a little bit about business management, you know, we have the head of the organization, and we have the body of the organization. You have the thinking level, and we have the operational level. Now, when it comes to the operational level, you are expected to follow the exact rhythm that has been laid by the organizational head. So the various departments will have to depend on the organizational head in order to implement anything. And that is the issue. So the people who work and they will always be in pain because they don't understand what they are doing. You cannot have increase in productivity without having workers who understand the mission, the vision, and the purpose of the kind of production you are doing. That the very services you are rendering cannot be effective if the kind of people you are cooperating in the business with do not understand how the operations are meant to be. So you have a responsibility to make things understandable. Young man, free yourself, free yourself, free yourself, free yourself and make things work. Free yourself from the comfortabilities that are keeping you blind. Free yourself and go out and face the world and make a change. Free yourself. Free yourself from that mental ignorance. Buy books and read. Free yourself. Free yourself from the lack of knowledge. Free yourself. Free yourself from poverty. You have what it takes to free yourself. You have what it takes. You have the mandate, the power, the intelligence. Everything resides in you. Until you are ready to make the change that is needed, you are not going to make relevance. That relevance is in your decisiveness. Relevance is in your decisiveness. Decide for change. Make up your mind to make change. Make up your mind. Decide for change. When you are going to decide for change, we know that you are going to be great. Free yourself, free yourself, free yourself, free yourself. You have to free yourself from addiction. Free yourself from things which will not profit you. You know exactly that what you are doing is actually taking away the money. The womanizing you are doing is taking away the money. The drugs you are doing is taking away the money. Yet there are important things over there that you are supposed to make sure that you satisfy. Their responsibilities are waiting you. Free yourself from that error and put yourself at the right place and bring change. Very soon you are going to marry. Very soon that woman that you have wived is going to give birth. Are you ready to pay school fees of that child? What if it becomes twins? What if it becomes more? Have you freed yourself to that point? You see, freedom is not a work of now alone. It's a work of now and a work of the future. That your freedom isn't supposed to affect your now alone. It's supposed to affect your now and your tomorrow. So when you don't have the kind of freedom that will secure you and the woman you are going to marry, that will secure you and the child you are bringing to the world, then what kind of freedom you think you are in? Freedom is about responsibility. That until you are ready to walk in a responsible mood, you are not ready for freedom. And so therefore, you forever remain in bondage. You forever remain in bondage. When slavery started, it started because certain people saw themselves to be leaders. and with their criteria of defining who a leader is. Not everybody can become a leader. And as a matter of fact, they had the thinking that leaders are being born but not made. So when you are born, they expect to see certain features of you which they accept to be a feature of a born leader. So when you are not born like that, they assume that you are a slave. And that was the whole idea why they trooped in Africa in order to capture people for their businesses and development. Now, when they came to Africa, there was freedom in Africa. So they needed to rob the people of their freedom. And so they have to create the dependency ratio. You have to create a system where the black man cannot be on his own to make his own decisions. So they took over 400 years to make that mentality work in the mind of a black man. That even up to now, there are a lot of black people that think that unless it's a white man, they cannot do anything. And that is an error. Resist the dependency ratio, resist it, and get hold of freedom. And when you get hold of freedom, you know that you have gotten hold of responsibility. And so you have to carry the responsibility alongside you. Parents, leave your children to be responsible. Leave them. Leave them. We need responsible people to run this nation. Responsible people. The culture, the dependency ratio culture that has been created has made our leaders to be weak. That up to now, our leaders have to go and depend on another country in order to rule. It's a tragedy. It's a pain. We have to deal with things. We have to overcome certain things. Let's grow and take responsibilities. And that will become a key for us to make change. Freedom is what we need. Thank you.